If it's bad for the altcoin, they want it to be bad for Bitcoin so that all the Bitcoiners will support their position. So I think you see a lot of that.
Take a look at Bitcoin pulling back today, but holding above that 36,000 level. Bitcoin, though, down 37% over the past month, and our resident Bitcoin baller.
A Bitcoin mining rig that's producing right now. And then after that, you've got these concentric circles. After that, you can own companies that are Bitcoin companies. If we look at the political winds that are blowing, clearly there's a lot of support. There was a fear, I think 6 months ago, that we might have government antipathy toward Bitcoin in the West. You know, like you heard the most informed criticism was, you know, Ray Dalio's, well, it's so good, someone's going to ban it. It's like, it kind of, first it was, well, I don't get it, I don't like it, it's bad. And then it became, I guess it's not bad. And then it became, well, I guess it's not going away and it works, but it works too well. Then it became a Jamie Dimon, Ray Dalio, it's just too good. You know, even, you know, Frank Giestra, eventually everybody kind of revolved around or settled upon the narrative that, yeah, it's not bad, it's good, but it's too good. And that's why I'm afraid of it. And I think in the last 6 months, right, we see, in fact, the opposite's happened. The administration's in favor. We've got supporters of Bitcoin in the administration. It seems to me like Biden was a positive check. The entire set of administrative regulators are positive checks. Most of the noise around regulation is really just the alt. I can't see any activity in the past 6 months from a regulator that was, in my opinion, hostile to Bitcoin. I think that the politics right now are such that you kind of have crypto versus Bitcoin. You have all the altcoins versus Bitcoin, and generally, if the altcoins could drag Bitcoin into the debate, right? If it's bad for the altcoin, they want it to be bad for Bitcoin so that all the Bitcoiners will support their position. So I think you see a lot of that, where people will try to recharacterize utterances by regulators as being bad for Bitcoin, when in fact, they're not bad for Bitcoin. They're bad for security tokens, DeFi exchanges, unregulated crypto exchanges, NFTs, or something else, but not Bitcoin. I think the other dynamic you see here is a little bit of tension between the entrepreneurs that control the industry in the first decade. So your family, you want to be in business, you want to be a Bitcoin miner, but you don't want to run your own data center. So you go ahead and you sign up with someone else. You're like a McDonald's franchise. Is that a good idea? I don't know. Maybe. Would I do it instead of buy Bitcoin? No. Like, I would buy the Bitcoin, because if you own Bitcoin, you've got your own franchise. You own X% of the dominant monopoly monetary network, and you're the property owner. So you have to consider, what am I surrendering in order to do the other thing? And so if you have $1 billion and you have to invest in securities, then you go buy Bitcoin miners, because you don't have a choice. Your choice is to invest in non-Bitcoin companies or invest in Bitcoin companies, right? So Bitcoin miner is better than not a Bitcoin miner. But that's because you have $1 billion of strategic capital and you can't move it anywhere else. But if you had $1 billion and you could buy Bitcoin with it, buy the Bitcoin, right? Now, if you're wanting to start a company and take it public, you probably can't start a company to buy Bitcoin and take it public, but you can start a Bitcoin miner and take that public. You see, so you got to ask the question, what are you trying to accomplish? My view is, the most valuable property in the universe is Bitcoin. The second most valuable property in the universe, presumably, is a Bitcoin mining rig that's producing right now. And then after that, you've got these concentric circles. After that, you can own companies that are Bitcoin companies, but they're competitive with each other. Some can win, some can lose. And then you can own non-Bitcoin companies, right? And then some are better than others. So, you know, I guess my answer to your question, it depends on what your question is, really.
Well, if you
caveat emptor is what I would say generally to everything. If I had $1 million of cash, there's nothing I would do with it other than buy Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the theoretical apex asset of the human race. The theoretical return on Bitcoin is higher than anything else. Everything else is dilutive. You know, you could take your million and you could invest in a Bitcoin miner, and you could wake up and the hash rate could increase by a factor of 10, and the guy that actually did the deal with you could steal your rigs. Okay, then where does that leave you? I mean, the point is, you've got counterparty risk, you've got hash rate risk. You could invest it in Kazakhstan and find out the government of Kazakhstan put like a triple windfall capital gains tax on your Bitcoin mining. So you've got political risk, you've got execution risk, you've got technical risk, you've got all sorts of risks. And against that, maybe there's a return. But is the risk-adjusted return higher than buying Bitcoin? I don't think so. If Bitcoin goes to zero, your Bitcoin mining investment goes to zero. If Bitcoin mining goes to the moon, then some Bitcoin miners will be successful and some will not be successful, and some might be more successful than the Bitcoin and some might not, but who knows? Right? That's just a complicated issue. You have to ask the question, is this business going to give a better yield than Bitcoin? The answer is probably no. If you don't have to put your own capital in the business, if you can go to someone else and raise millions of dollars to start up a Bitcoin mining venture, then by all means, you should do it. It's someone else's capital, right? And so you're drawing capital into the ecosystem. So that the right way to think of it is launch a Bitcoin bank like Silvergate, raise 480 million. Launch a Bitcoin miner, raise hundreds of millions. Launch a Bitcoin anything, you know, raise money, bring it into the ecosystem and compete. But when you have excess cash flow, sweep them into Bitcoin. That would be my view on that. And if you think of it that way, then I think everything's a lot simpler.
I think also to that point, the ability to depreciate the assets, which are the mining rigs.
Yeah, there are a lot of business advantages, to having an operating business, right? Like you're right. Like if you buy the mining rigs and you can take immediate depreciation, yeah, assuming you have cash flows or you have profits that you can use that against, tax credit against. So there's a lot of other times when it makes sense. Like if you have natural gas and you have natural gas that's stranded and you have to shut in the wells, then you should launch a Bitcoin mining business so you don't have to shut in the natural gas. If you have a cash generating real estate company, you pair it with a Bitcoin mining company, then you could really use some of the tax benefits. Right, it's just a business discussion. And one thing that I try to do is I try to keep all of my commentary on just Bitcoin, like the laserized thing is just Bitcoin. I don't give you advice about what stocks to buy. I don't give you my opinions about Facebook or Apple. I don't even tell you to invest in MSTR, right? If you look at every one of my tweets, I've never said buy MSTR stock. That's a security. Risk comes with it.